remember the Boston Tea Party. That was a tax protest that was a response to a failed and unresponsive political system. A government out of touch with the people that was doing just the wrong thing in response to a crisis. Does that sound familiar? Winston Churchill said that for a nation to tax itself into prosperity is like a man standing on a bucket and trying to lift himself up by the handle. Now, if you suddenly discovered that you were a little poorer than you thought you had been, would your first reaction be to run off with your credit cards and raise your credit card debt as high as it could go? I would call that stupid. But what do they call it in Washington? They call it a stimulus program. Now, I'd say that Congress is spending like a drunken sailor, but I think that is unfair to drunken sailors. Let me tell you about a city government near here. There was a newspaper story just a few weeks ago. A city government near here announced that it had received a stimulus check from the federal government. And the spokesman was quoted in the paper, and he said, "This is great news, but we just don't know how we're going to spend this yet." Think on that. Now, I had some ideas how I was going to spend it when it was my money, but they really have no idea how to spend it in the way that's best for us. That's right. And the worst thing about this stimulus is that it leads to the worst and most dangerous and least visible and least accountable tax, the most unfair tax of all. $1 trillion of extra spending by the federal government is going to create this danger. People with savings are going to have their savings completely destroyed by the inflation that is caused by rampant, out of control